about something that not even Trump or Clinton talk about, not even Gary Johnson and Jill Stein. No major candidate seems to talk about this issue at all. And I think it's a really pressing issue, but seemingly no one else that I talk to thinks it's a big deal. And that is the amount of deaths we have in auto accidents across this country. I don't think people actually know how many people die on the roads from car crashes every year. And I'm just going to point the camera forward to illustrate my point, because this area, the DC metro area, is one of the worst traffic places in the entire country. Usually it's the worst. LA, we kind of compete with LA. We kind of jump back and forth between the worst, number one and number two. You know, so 2015 was the first year that they beat us for the last couple of years. But anyway, just to illustrate my point, I see the bullshit I have to go through every day. Like these people slowing down for no fucking reason. I know it's no fucking reason, because they slow down at this particular spot every time for no reason. There's nothing there, as you will see. Anyway, on average, about 30,000 people die in the U.S. from auto accidents every single year. 30,000. 2015 was a huge spike in amount of deaths. 38,000 people died. That is just staggering. That is a staggering amount of people. I know this country is very big, and I know it's still a very small percentage of the whole population. That is still a whopping number. I mean, in 1 year, the amount of people that die in this country from auto accidents, more people die than all the soldiers we lost in the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. The entire wars. In 1 year, we beat that number. I mean, that's just incredible. The amount of homicides we have in this country is, I think, around 11,000. So 3 times as many people die from auto accidents as from homicides. And yet you see the amount of media attention on quote-unquote gun violence. You know, just murders, you know, usually with guns. The amount of attention it gets, the amount of political drama that's put in there. And it's just like, well, if you guys cared about these deaths equally, you would make 3 times as many news articles, as amount of attention and noise as you would from homicides, because 3 times as many people die on the roads than homicides. But you see almost no one talking about it. See how it cleared up for no reason? It was just bad a second ago, and now it cleared up. Fucking retards. They're pea-brained. But I'll get to the pea-brains in a minute. When have you heard a major candidate or people in the news talk about, you know, the epidemic? I think this is a huge epidemic in this country, because unlike other issues, such as smoking, which is self-inflicted, you know, obesity, which is mostly self-inflicted, you know, there are no victims in those deaths. You know, tens of thousands of people die from cigarettes and obesity and heart attacks every year. But that's less of a problem, because that's the only people who die from that. It's mostly their fault. You know, no one's forcing you to eat shitty food all the time. No one's forcing you to smoke all the cigarettes. You know, so we can only control people's behavior so much. But these deaths, someone else is causing the death of other people. You know, there actually are true victims. The actual crime has been committed because someone else is doing this against another. Can you imagine Americans killing 30,000 other Americans in any other way in this 30,000, and the media just accepting it? I mean, imagine if, I don't know, let me think of something, falling off windows. Let's say 30,000 people push people off of windows every single year. You know, you think people would talk about that a lot. You think it would be a big fucking deal. But if a car crash, for some reason, people just don't think it's a big deal. Odds are it's not going to happen to them. Still a small percent of the population. So they have something to feel talk about it. You know, but I think it's a major issue, and I know what the government needs to do in order to fix it, but they will never do it, because those people will just riot, because they wouldn't want this. The minor inconvenience they would have to go through in order for this to happen, they wouldn't want it. So let's just go on record. A libertarian that is actually going to advocate for government intervention to solve this problem. I know, this is like the one time I think the government needs to step in and fix the situation, because like I said, it is not, there are actual victims in these cases. It is a public safety issue. 38,000 people in 1 fucking year. I mean, just Jesus fucking Christ. It's fucking incredible. If you just times the average is like 32,000 a year, you times that by a decade, you know, it's just hundreds of thousands. of people die every year due to other people's stupidity, not their own actions. 94% of deaths are what they call human error. Someone made a mistake because they were retarded. They slipped up for a second, went into retard mode, never go full retard, and they killed someone. We'll get to that in a second. So what I propose the government to do is to have more control over people's driver's licenses. You know, like concealed carry permits. I have to renew that thing every 5 years. Lots of license you have to renew every year. I think boating license you have to renew every 1 or 2 years. Hunting license you have to renew every certain amount of years. You know, to make they want you to make sure that you still know your shit. That you haven't just devolved into some fucking retard. That's my number one. This is my number one insult. I use that word so often. The people who accuse me of being something phobic against mentally challenged people. It's just like, no, I use retard when a normal person does something that is so fucking stupid that stupid is not a good enough adjective to describe it. So I need to use the word retard. I never call a mentally challenged person a retard. That's mean. That's not fair. It's stupid. You know. Okay, that was a side note. Anyway, so I suggested the government, well, state government, because the state governments are the ones that issue licenses, they should make people have to retake the driver's test every certain amount of years, you know, the exact number of years, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. The state should make that mandatory, so people are constantly put to the test on their skills, so they have to be good drivers for all their lives in order to keep the license. Lots of people, they get their license when they're 16, 17, 18, whatever, and then they never tested on their skill again. So their habits, bad habits are created. You know, their skill is never put to the test, so it just evolves. So that's how you come up with these complete morons on the road who have no idea what to do. You know, I pass them on the road because they're going 20 under the speed limit, and they have just a confused look on their face. They are just bedazzled at the fact that they have to drive. The task of driving is so hard for them. They have to put so much effort into it because they're so fucking stupid. You know, in me, I can do these videos and drive at the same time and still drive better than 90% of these fucktards out here. You know, sometimes I can like fiddle with the radio, eat my lunch while I'm driving. You know, so 3 things at once: changing the radio, eating, and driving. I still do it better than these retards. You know, because they never have to do any better. Who cares if they, you know, almost get in all these wrecks all the time and get all these tickets because they suck, you know, and do all these fender benders. You know, there's no incentive. They're just like, it's a minor inconvenience. See, and I caught that camera while driving. Like, it really isn't that hard. Now, I know my reflexes are much faster than other people's. I'll give them that. I don't expect a 6-year-old grandma to have the reflexes I have. You know, but having a driver's test every 2 or 3 years would certainly sharpen her skills. You know, like imagine if you never had to take another hunting course, or let's say a concealed carry course. You know, you wouldn't know the new laws that come in order, the new regulations, the new... God, this thing won't stand up. The second time I caught it. Stay the fuck up, will you? God damn, I'm not even going that fast. Anyway, back to the point, yeah, that's my solution, basically. I went on for that a little longer than I should have, but that's my solution. Have the government regulate these things like they do almost every single other license. You know, restaurants have to renew their license every year, or I don't even know how often it is, to operate. You know, so they pass health inspections, everything, you know, whatever. Hey guys, I was having trouble with the camera, so we're going to have just this view for the last parts of it. So I know the state governments will never do what I suggested, because people will see that as a government burden, you know, just bearing down on their lives. You take away their right for free speech, to bear arms, to right to a free and speedy trial, whatever. No one cares about that. But as soon as you make them go to the DMV every couple of years to renew their driver's license, redo the test, people will be up in arms about that, you know. So unfortunately, the states will never do what I suggest, and so we'll just have to deal with this almost 40,000 people dying every single year because Mr. Fat Retard he'll be inconvenienced to get up his fat ass and go actually drive well to redo his test. You know, it's so sad that's what's going to happen. That's the only thing that will fix it. We have to improve drivers' ability to drive. People have devolved into fucking retards. It didn't used to be like this. There were always bad drivers, no doubt. I mean, as soon as we invented the fucking car, there was probably some dumbass who killed someone with it, you know? But it's an epidemic, especially around here, being one of the worst, sometimes the worst place in the country to drive. I almost get into a wreck twice a week on average. Never my fault. Never my fault. Always someone else veering off into my lane because they're on their phone or they're being retarded, or they try to cut me off and almost hit me, or they run a red light, or they almost run into me from behind because they're tailgating me. You know, shit like that, where it's just like, this isn't isolated cases. This isn't, obviously, because there's 30,000 people plus a year dying. But this is just a huge amount of people, any given time on the road around here, are just complete fucking retards. They cannot do the simple task of driving. Driving, for me, like at a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the easiest thing and 10 being the hardest, it's like a 2, maybe a 3. You know, it is so fucking easy. And these people can't do it. They can't do it literally to save their lives or someone else's life. That's why they die by the tens of thousands. You know? Another point I want to make out, you might think, well, why is a libertarian advocating for government intervention to solve a problem? Well, the thing is, first of all, I'm advocating for the states to do it, not the federal government. The states have more powers than the federal government should have in terms of, you know, what they can do, according to the Constitution. The state can just make it a part of our Constitution to regulate the roads, regulate travel. This is part of it. This is part of keeping the citizens safe and making sure that travel and trade across states, you know, on the roads that the states maintain is safe. There's nothing in the Constitution saying that the states can't do this. You know, all rights that the Constitution doesn't give the federal government automatically goes to the states or the people. So the states can do it. So this state intervention that I'm proposing does not violate any of my libertarian views whatsoever. Oh, look, a wreck on the road. Wreck. What a surprise. Sometimes I come home, 3 wrecks on my way home from work, any given day. 3 wrecks within like a 5-mile radius. You know, 3 fucking retards couldn't drive right, and they inconvenienced someone, or in the case of 38,000 last year, killed. You know, the reason why we don't want to solve this problem is because you would have to call out people's stupid fucking habits. Like, for instance, but we don't want to be mean to people. You know, we don't want to call out that old grandma and say, you fucking suck, you got someone killed because you're retarded. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do it to anyone, not just grandmas. You know, but unfortunately, that's what has to happen in order for this to change. We have to call out people's bullshit and say, no, you suck at driving. Everyone thinks, there's lots of people who like text and drive and say, well, I know lots of people kill other people on the roads because they text and drive, but it won't happen to me. Well, it's never going to happen to you until it happens to you, and then you become just one more stat. You know, you think, oh, that happens to other people, it doesn't happen to me. Well, to everyone else, you are another person. So people always think that they're immune to this stat. Oh yeah, I can text and drive. Oh yeah, I can talk on the phone and drive. Oh yeah, I can do all this shit and drive at the same time. Until they kill someone because of their own arrogance and stupidity, and they say, oh, I can't believe it. I didn't mean to do this. I'm so sorry. There have been advertisements at the fucking wazoo saying, don't text and drive. Do not distract and don't be distracted and drive. You know? How could you have not known that? How could you have not known that distracted driving is a bad thing? But yet you did it anyway because you think you're better than everyone else. You know, in your arrogance and stupidity, it got people killed. Now you've lived with it the rest of your life because you couldn't put that fucking phone down, because you couldn't text your girlfriend about what you're going to do Friday night. Someone is dead because of that. You'd live with that guilt the rest of your fucking life. And someone else, not only do these 38,000 people die, but let's say each person is a family of 4, the standard nuclear family. So 38,000 times 4. I don't know what that is. 40 times 4 is 120,000. So it's like 114,000, around that. Maybe 112,000. 112,000 people are directly affected by these people's arrogance, stupidity, and bad driving skills every single year. And that's just assuming you have a family of 4. If you extend a family, of 10, 20 people, and all those people have lost a loved one, because of you. In the time that I made this video, 5 people have already died, or whatever, you can break down the stats. It's just so sad that tens of thousands of people are dying because of other people's stupidity. Like I said before, it's not like smoking where you're doing it to yourself, and if you died, well, you fucking caused it. I have no sympathy for you at all. I have sympathy for these people because they're dying because of other people's stupidity. And I hate stupid people. I cannot stand stupidity and ignorance. Because it negatively affects my life so much. Everywhere I go, to the store, to the bank, to try to get a job, to try to do almost everything, I run into complete fucking retards. Excuse me, who have no idea what they're doing. And they inconvenience my life a lot. Look at this traffic. If everyone would just go a little faster, not slow down because of nothing, or slow down on a green light, as you can, I don't know if you can see that. Look, 2 green lights as far as the eye can see, and people are stopping for no reason. I swear they're teaching people in driving school today to brake at green lights. And braking green lights is different, but that's just bad driving skills in general. At best, it inconveniences people and makes their commute hard, and at worst, it kills them. So I already advocated my solution. I know it's never going to happen. I already stated that this issue was important to me, so if some fucking idiot kills me in the next couple of months because he was texting on his phone, you can point this video and say he was trying to warn us, and look, he was a victim of something that he warned. Poetic irony or whatever you want